Well then guys, it's that time of the week again I suppose, isn't it? So new camera angle for you, a bit further away, not as high up. It's now right at the front of the windscreen basically, so it's almost as if it was sitting on the dash but with no arm pushing it out towards me. So I mean, looks okay. Obviously audio wise it's a little bit further away, so I'm not sure how it's going to do. We shall see. But yeah, this weekend's been very much family orientated. Back end of last week I was even doing some work at my mother's house, sort of finishing off some bits in her kitchen that needed doing really. It's sort of stuff, you know what happens when you get somebody moved in, you do a load of the work and then you sort of, it sort of gets waylaid, doesn't it, as you go back to doing your normal daytime job and everything. These things sort of get put to the back of your mind and missed out, and you know, I'm sure it happens with everybody. It doesn't. Oh, it must be just me then. But anyway, I've been in doing some bits and pieces. I know there's still more to do, but it was just a case of getting this bit in the kitchen done, and there was something else. Oh, she got a new bath panel as well that she wanted fitted, so that's been done now, which was an absolute pain in the backside really. Well, it wasn't, but it was annoying that you couldn't put it on the way it was designed to be put on. And that's purely because it's old style steel bath, and of course your bath panels now are made to fit the modern baths, which are all plastic and have that little built-in lip of wood and stuff like that. This one had a wooden frame put under the steel bath, but there wasn't enough room for the lip on the top of this wooden bath panel that she'd come with it. Well, it's made out of MDF, but made to look like tongue and groove bits of wood sort of thing, so it's one of them. And because of that, it's made so that it's made sort of like, it's got like cam locks, so you put it together as three separate panels, but then underneath you do the same again with the plinth, and the plinth is supposed to be screwed onto the back of that, so that you've got basically a little setback for the plinth. But because it had a one-piece wooden frame on behind it, that, you know, had to obviously be moved a fraction at the top and everything, and I couldn't do the plinth like that, so the plinth had to go directly underneath it. So yeah, but I got there in the end. So and then of course yesterday, I think I mentioned it actually, yesterday was my parents' golden wedding anniversary. So we had a little do-on in their Women's Institute Hall in Cranswick. My mother's like, she's sort of joined up with them and that, you know, as something to do, you know, to keep her own self amused, I suppose. And it was in their hall, which so we've had family across from Liverpool and up from Leicester and stuff like that. So, and it's always good to see them, you know. Even though it was just for a short time, obviously we didn't want it to go on too late, mainly for my dad more than anything else, you know. He gets tired very quickly now, so. But yeah, that was nice. It was nice to see some of the family, and we had some of them stay with us, so we had 2 more bedrooms taken up upstairs. So it was just to say, because they were sort of looking for rooms in the area and places that, you know, like the Star and stuff like that. I said, well, there's no point in them paying out for rooms. So, you know, we've got a couple of spare bedrooms that they can use on a Saturday night. So yeah, so we had a couple to, well, I had 2 aunties to stay, and one of them's got a husband with her, so, you know. But yeah, we had the room for them, so they stayed and they've had breakfast and they've gone. I think they went off, what about, I don't know, because I took one of them through back to where my parents live, and we were helping to sort of like finish cleaning up in the hall and what have you. and I took all the rubbish to the tip and stuff like that, and so I would say it was probably nearly 12 o'clock by the time they left. And then they had to go and pick my grandmother up, who stayed at a woman's house near my mother, and then they've gone back off to Liverpool, or Crosby. They all live in Crosby. So yeah, it's been quite a sort of semi-busy weekend, but it's been okay at the same time. You know, I've just had some rain in Driffield, and yet you get back here and it's glorious. But I think the clouds are heading this way because the wind keeps changing direction over the last few days. We've had it coming in from the west, we've had it coming in from the east. I think it's blowing from the northeast today, so I'm not sure whether it's going to come this way or not. Actually, I don't think it is, thinking about it. If it's still blowing from the northeast, then we won't get the rain. But it was just like spots of rain more than anything else. It's been strange. I mean, the weather's pretty much okay today. It started off very windy, but then it's eased off again. So, because we've been getting sort of nice mornings and awful afternoons or something like that, you know. So it's been very up and down, the weather, this last week. I mean, it's quite warm today. I mean, I don't know what the temperature is. What is it? 14.5 degrees. So it's not bad, actually. It certainly feels a bit warmer than that when you get in the sun. The sun's actually very warm if you're getting a bit of a sun trap out of the wind. I mean, our back garden's a bit like that, so you know, I was just setting up the camera for a bit of time-lapse earlier, and it was certainly very warm. It sort of, I mean, I doubt you could, but you felt like you could get quite a suntan from it. So, ooh, by these roads. Tell you what I've noticed with my iPhone now, and I think you'll probably find it's going to be an inherent problem with the iPhone Plus camera. And that is you notice it more on time-lapse looking at the screen, but obviously it won't so much come out on the footage, because obviously a time-lapse is just picture, 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 picture. But what I have noticed is it's obviously the optical image stabilization. Now, I'm not quite sure how it's mounted, whether it's just like rubber bungees, springs, whatever. You're getting a lot more movement in it, especially from the vibration of the car. So you set the car running and you start to see the wavering effect in the picture. Now, obviously, if you were filming video footage moving on the car, which I've seen it on some of my videos before, it does show up. Whereas in time-lapse, it doesn't show up as much, so it's not quite so bad. But that seems to have steadily gotten worse, and I don't think it's just software upgrade that. I think it's more to do with the age of the phone. And right now, I just can't see me bothering to upgrade to to a 7 or anything like that. Not unless, like I say, a good offer comes along, or this phone sort of plays up. So that was my third trip to Tesco, by the way. So it's always a case of, well, I went into town, got some stuff, then came back. Well, I didn't come back here. I went and dropped off daughter-in-law and granddaughter, and because they came with me to Tesco, and then I dropped them off, and then I had to pop back and get something else before I left town. Got home, and then I'd realised that I'd forgotten something, and I can't get it in the village shop, so I've had to go back into town anyway. So anyway, let me know how you think about this sort of angle anyway. Yeah, I mean, it's not quite perfect at the minute, but I've got it near. You see, because I've only got the actual clamp that I can swing around on there. In fact, let me show you, just hang on. Not sure how well this is going to show up because of the lighting, but this here, I can turn that like that, right? And then that knob there I can turn, and what that does is turn that. So you can see that what I've done, so that I can get a bit of angle with so that the camera faces more towards me in the right hand side of the car, I've had to tilt that a bit, put that up there, and then I can just tilt that to where I want it to get it sort of right to face me. So It's, you know, it's not the perfect option, but it is giving much more rigid footage, and I'm seeing a lot less vibration from the footage. So, you know, from that point of view, I'm actually very happy with it at the minute. So we had another poorly dog. That was Fred, and it was strange really because hang on, because it was. I mean, I suppose our first sort of panicking thoughts were that he had. Many of you will know he's already had a spinal surgery a couple of years back, and I suppose we thought immediately that he's got something wrong with his back or his neck again, because he was sort of walking around and he had his head all twisted and everything and turned to one side, and you see he wasn't limping, but he was sort of, you know, he was just skulking along. So we made him all comfortable, kept him sort of with us all night, and he was, you know, he managed. The next morning, thought, well, if he's just pulled a muscle or something, he's going to be better. But turned out, when you sort of looked online, it sort of aimed more towards sort of them having like a middle ear infection. So we took him to the vets, and that's what the vet was thinking. It's more likely that he's got an ear infection. Now, when you look inside his ears, you can't see anything, so it's more likely that it is middle ear or inner ear. Obviously it can be quite serious with a dog, and basically, but when I took him to the vets, he acted like he was pretty much right as rain when he was there, and so he got 2 injections. One was like a painkiller and anti-inflammatory, the other was like a heavy hitting sort of yeah. You know, to get rid of infections, yeah. I can't remember the name of them. I'm sure somebody will point it out in the comments. And then some pills as well. He's got a 5-day course of pills, which he started yesterday. So, but he's been right as rain since, pretty much. Yeah, he's a little bit off, but he came straight home, tucked into some food and everything, and he was fine. So, and he's laid out in the sun and jumped up with a start when that strimmer was started. So, but yeah, anyway, I've got to crack on with my tea, and I'm just going to drink this can. So I'll catch up later, guys. It's a little warm in here. Sort of fly going down there then. Can't see it now. Must have flown off. What are you doing? I'm talking. Don't interrupt. That was Fred, probably heard me talking and thought, there's somebody else here, I'll go and bark at them. No, he wants me to play. Look at this. What? Is this it? Go and get it. You want me to throw it, don't you? Eh? Go on, throw it back. He always picks the most inopportune moments to want to play. But there's nothing wrong with him now, he's absolutely fine. But I'm going to go and do them their food now and give him his pills. He's going to love me. So, the nights get dark quicker now, don't they? I mean, it's, I'm not sure what time it is actually. 7:10, and it's, I mean, it's not pitch black yet, but obviously, you know, and there's a bit of cloud over as well, which darkens it up even more, doesn't it? So, So yeah, tea's been had, well and truly. I've got them cleaned up now. I've just got a bit of pork still out on the side, still on the bone, just to put in the fridge when it's cooled off a bit more. It's still on a little bit of the warm side. Some kind of notification, don't know what it was for. So yeah, I'm just having a cup of coffee now, and then I'm gonna wrap this up and get it edited, guys. Yeah, so that new drone from DJI, I've been looking at footage and stuff like that people have been putting up from them, what have you, and DJI's footage, and it's people are criticising it a lot, saying, well, the image quality is not as good and stuff like that. Well, no, it's not as good. Of course it's not as good. This drone is made as, it's a compromise. It's not made for getting, cinema grade footage or anything like that, or anything that's like even usable in an advert, really. It's got a very soft footage to it, even though it's 4K. And what people have got to remember is that the sensor's smaller. It's a smaller camera, smaller lenses, and it's been done, that drone has been made for people who are on the go and want to be able to just, within seconds like that, just get some footage. Snowboarding, mountain biking, walking, running, cycling, whatever you do. And that's what it's been designed for. It's great. I mean, I wouldn't have one as a primary, that's how I get my aerial footage, but I would definitely have one, if I had the money, then I would definitely have one as a second drone that I was using to, just spur of the moment footage. But you have to be somebody who's really out and about a lot and does a lot of that sort of thing. So those that are hammering it, stop bloody hammering it. There's nothing wrong with it. It's up to you and how you use your tools as to whether you're going to buy that or the GoPro Karma. The GoPro Karma, it's got a wider usage, but do remember it's a separate camera, whereas this is built to do that particular job. And this is what people don't realise, you've got to think about the usage, how you're going to use it. So, but yeah, it's like, it's like anything. Something that is made to do a particular job will be better at that particular job than a tool that is made to do 10 jobs. And it's the same with any kind of tools, hand tools as well. It's like, shifting pliers, they're made to adjust. Whereas if you actually had a pair of pliers that were the exact size for the job you wanted, they are always going to do a better job. Anyway, enough about that, but yeah, so it's been, the week itself's been okay, and, the weekend's been okay, really. It's just been sort of, on the go, fairly constant sort of thing. But I'm assuming my family are at home. I have not heard anything from them yet. I'm surprised I haven't had a Facebook notification or anything like that. I'm sure I'll get something at some point. But I was just thinking, like, it's like I got a review item coming now. It's another pair of earphones, and they want reviews quick on these sort because it's still got a 3.5 jack, and obviously it's a case of the 3.5 is now disappearing, of course, because Apple have already done it. Other firms will eventually follow suit. It won't take long, and other firms will follow. You're not going to be able to stop it. It's the wheels of change. You can't stop them. They're rolling. And the thing is, years ago when I was a teenager, if I had this sort of money, I would have bought a pair in a shop. Because these are obviously more for like your audiophile, because these are in-ear headphones and they are £98, which is a lot of money for in-ears. The state I'm at now, I wouldn't pay that on in-ears, but I would pay it for a pair of on-ears or over-ears. You know, I'd quite happily pay it for that. Again, it's about the tools and what they're used for, isn't it? In-ears are for out and about, using all the time. They're actually described as monitors. I've forgotten who the firm they're from now anyway, but yeah, so I'm on with those at the minute. They're really nice though. I mean, the quality is really on point, they're stunning. So, but yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting a review done for those. But yeah, like I say, the firms are sort of pressuring you to do the reviews quicker, obviously because the sooner they get the reviews out, the more they can get possible sales from those reviews, which, you know, you can understand from that point of view really, that they want them done quick. You know, they are slowly going to start losing out to wireless, which realistically will probably be never as good as a fully wired headphone, because you are always going to get some loss in quality over a wireless connection of any kind. It might be minuscule, and they'll get it to the point where the human ear can't even discern a difference, but there will always be that minor difference there. So it's just a case of how good they are at the end of the day, isn't it? So, I mean, I'm all for wireless anyway, but a lot of people still don't like them, and you know, I can understand that. That's, you know, that's their feelings on the matter. But yeah, watch out for that review coming up on the tech channel anyway, guys. But I've waffled enough. I mean, this is another 7 minutes odd now to go on top of what I've already done. So, so I will sign off, guys. So until next week, do take care of yourselves, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers, guys. See you.